Megan Abel's here, continuing our series on teacher leadership. And we have talked to the superintendent of Mountain Home School District. We have talked to lead teachers. We have talked to teachers in the classroom. And now we really want to hear from the principal's perspective. And so many times as teachers, we say we must work smarter, not harder. And I feel like, if I'm speaking correctly, that using teachers on assignment would help you as an administrator work smarter and not harder. So if you would please just introduce yourself to us, tell us about, I know you're new to the building, and what does this look like for you in just this 3 months that you've been utilizing teacher leaders?
All right. My name is Allison Dewey, and I'm the building principal at Hackler. New to the building, but not new to school administration. I had 7 years at the middle school prior to this assignment. I can honestly say that having the TOSAs, the lead teachers as leaders in the building, has allowed me to truly feel more effective as an instructional leader, because they offer insight that oftentimes an administrator or an administrative team doesn't have. Because they're straight from the classroom. They understand things, that they have insight, they have input, and I feel like I actually have more, maybe they have the ability to communicate things with teachers that when I say those things is not nearly as effective. And we're kind of able to use a different approach, because I can talk to the TOSAs, and then the TOSAs can share things with teachers and maybe explain to them why we're doing things a certain way, or the reasoning behind things. Yes. which is helpful, because teachers do want to know the why, not just she said to do it. Why? Why are we looking at the data this way? Why are we taking this number of interims? Why is it important to do our common formative assessments and then look at the data?
Thank you for that. So I'm curious, as from an administrator's perspective, when most principals think, I'm going to pull a teacher out of the classroom 4 periods a day, how am I going to do that? Kind of walk us through the how and then why it is so important for y'all to do that.
Okay, well, a couple of things fell into place with this. Anytime there are retirements or teachers moving positions, openings occur. Of course, and administrators understand that we're not only trying to follow standards, keeping our classroom sizes correct, but also looking at your human capital, your people. So finding places that work. We did go from 13 to 12 teachers in the 3rd grade based on a smaller class size. So we knew there was an opening there. In the 4th grade, we were able once again to look, do we need the 13 teachers, or can we do it with 12, still staying within our legal class size limits? It worked for us to be able to do without those 2 positions by the time we moved things around, added a teacher actually to 5th grade. But you've said working smarter, not harder. Because we have these teachers on special assignment, they are able to help our teachers in ways that maybe they don't notice there's an extra student in their classroom as far as numbers go. Right. So we've been able to do that, maintained legal limits as far as class size, and help our teachers by having some help. That they're an invaluable resource to our teachers, and our teachers are just now beginning to see that. They're beginning to see the value of these positions, and I have heard no grumbling as far as, oh my goodness, last year I had 19, now I have 21 kids in my room. I'm not hearing that, because they're being supported through their PLCs. They're being supported by helping find, we were looking today at data from an ACT interim assessment that our 3rd grade teachers had given last week. Looking at percentages, we automatically saw a weakness. Ms. Strider was able to go, look at this, it's a low area. And I said, what can you provide to teachers to help them? Well, I can do this, this, and this. So she'll be able to go into that PLC, they'll be able to look at that data, and then she'll be able to immediately support them just taking something off their plate, providing a resource for them that to me is invaluable.
And PLCs has been such a hot topic, and the schools that are doing it right and really being student focused and student driven in their PLCs, they're seeing collaboration go to new levels. They're seeing students grow like never before. So walk me through kind of how you feel like this piece makes your PLC stronger, and then what your PLCs look like because you have these teachers on assignment to help do the prep work on the front end of the PLCs.
Okay. A couple of different things. I've had experience with PLCs for several years at the middle school level. So I began to see those PLCs functioning pretty independently, and they're continuing to now. At Hackler, PLCs began last year, so we're still in the beginning stages because teachers, I think, at Hackler are becoming more confident with PLCs and realizing that collaboration truly is the key to student success. Yes. And we know that when we look at studies, it is professionals working together truly shows there's evidence of student success. Our TOSAs are actually pushing in to help in literacy PLCs. They are not the facilitators of those PLCs. They are participants in. So they are participating in a 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, and 7th grade literacy PLC. So a lot of their time is spent in PLCs. They can take, as teachers are beginning to do their common formative assessments, break down those standards and looking at, what must our kids know before going to the next grade level. They're able to help them not only break those standards down, but say, hey, here's what happened. Here's what 4th grade chose as one of their core standards. How vertically can we best align 3rd grade and 5th grade to make sure that we have a good vertical alignment and continuum of learning for our students? They're also able to help them look at data, either before the PLC and have some insight, because sometimes I think that we can get too close to our data.
Yeah.
And they're looking at it globally. They're kind of looking above that data, not straight from the classroom. They're also helping design common formative assessments because since they are on special assignment, they do have some time built in to when teachers can say, can you help us develop this? They are becoming an instrumental part of those PLCs, and I do think our teachers are counting on them at this point for what they can provide to the PLC. So I have seen nothing but positives with our TOSAs working with our PLCs. Our next step is making sure we're providing targeted intervention, and our TOSAs are going to be involved in that. And I feel like as an administrator, I can go to the TOSAs and say, okay, next step, targeted Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions. How can you help us? How can you help me help teachers? And they're not only a support to teachers, but they're a support to me. And I think that's, I can't say enough about what the ladies have done to help us with that.
That is so powerful to hear. And I know there may be teachers watching this video that are saying, well, that's great, but what kind of culture has to be alive in a school, in a building, for it to have the success that you all are saying?
As an administrator, I truly believe that the culture begins at the top with the superintendent, then with the building principals and building leaders. I am part of a team. I see the benefit of the TOSAs. I want the TOSAs to help me help teachers, and unless that culture is there, and there's some humility in that, and realizing what I don't know and realizing what they can bring to the table. I think that that's the first step in culture, is all of us being on the same team. Our PLC training tells us they're our kids, not your kids, not mine kids. They're our kids. And how can we best serve our kids? So we're working to create a culture to where we do truly collaborate, building level leader, assistant principals, TOSAs and teachers, paraprofessionals, all of us working together for what is best for our kids. And I think that if you have a culture that is based on that philosophy, I don't know how we can't accept teacher leaders and what they can provide to our students and teachers.
In January, we're getting ready to launch our new career continuum for teachers who crave leadership but don't want to be principals or don't want to really necessarily move out of the classroom into a facilitator position. And also those teachers who are just masters of their content and to be designated a master teacher or a lead teacher. So moving forward, one thing that we want to work on at the agency is providing examples of how this is beneficial to schools, to principals, how this is beneficial to teachers who are now going to, like you said, see what they do from a bird's eye view and not just in a 360-degree view of their classroom. So what advice would you give to other principals around the state as to why this should be an exciting time for them and not just the teachers across Arkansas, about teacher leadership really igniting and just really kind of becoming a forefront of the conversation in Arkansas? So why should they be excited about that?
The opportunity for administrators across the state to empower teachers is an incredible opportunity because, honestly, it makes my job easier. It makes me happy to see other teachers in those leadership positions, and it creates ownership for not just your individual classroom, but for the school as a whole. It is a very exciting opportunity, and I think that administrators have to, we talk about being hungry and humble. These TOSAs have helped me be hungrier and have encouraged me to stay humble and to realize the knowledge that is out there. Teachers have the chance right now in the state I'll take that back. Administrators have the opportunity right now in the state to empower teachers like we never have before. And I truly believe that that is the culture where students will be most successful, is where teachers are leaders. And we don't only encourage that leadership, but we acknowledge it. And note that teachers truly are leaders. And, our best kept secrets are in our classrooms, and they're the teachers. Yes. And so I think there's opportunities there, and I hope administrators will jump on board and find ways to make things like this work, because there's some great opportunities, and I think Hackler in particular has 2 great examples of that, and our district right now has 3. And the way that they're working together, the way that they are leading teachers is incredible.
My dear friend Sandra Hurst always says, for teacher leaders to thrive and to do what they're intended to do, they must extend their reach beyond the classroom. They must be in a culture that nourishes and grows their voice and where they feel like they have a voice. And I think sometimes that's scary for administrators, but I love how you said it so eloquently, that administrators can learn from teacher leaders and they can grow students together and it really become a partnership. And then just to throw the PLC mix into it and it becoming all about collaboration from the top down, that's just so important. And thank you so much for your words of encouragement, and thank you for leading and having a culture that's thriving. Teacher leaders, other teachers, and students, we appreciate you for that. And thank you all for joining us today in this Teacher Leadership in Arkansas.